Howdy everyone. So if you have a landscaping website, you definitely need to watch this video. What we're going to do is we're going to go deep and take a look under the hood, check out these pages and see what's good about this landscaping website, what is not good, and what optimizations need to be done so that Google can rank it higher, get more traffic to this website, and so you can get more sales, more calls, more request forms, etc., etc. And I am Kiram from Clear Imaging. This is us, clearimaging.com. We do wicked website designs. We've been around for 2 decades, helped over 2,500 American companies, fresh designs, very ethical SEO. We always follow Google's guidelines, so we don't mess around, and that's why we've been around for so long. So let's jump right in with this website. We've got lawncareclearwaterflorida.com. And SEO is all about optimizing your website so that Google can understand what the content is about, and then expanding on your content, creating more content to show that Google you're an authority in that area. That therefore Google will bring you up in the search results, you'll get more traffic, the visitors turn into prospects, etc., etc. So it's a very important part of your small business marketing plan. If you have a service-based business like a landscaping company, you want to be at the top when people search for landscaper near me. So first things first that I like to take a look at is something called the title. So I press Control U on the keyboard, and this is the title here. All right. Now you see it up in this tab, okay? That's where you're seeing these words, and they're in the code right here. And this is by far, hands down, the most important optimization you can make on your website, the title. And let's take a look at what they put here. They put Clearwater FL, Clearwater FL, Clearwater 3 times. So they're putting their city in way too much. It needs to be much more laid back. All right, you don't want it to be like that. You want it to be much simpler. It's called keyword stuffing, basically. And they're also putting landscaping in there 3 times. Landscaping, landscapers, landscaping. They should just put this, chop chop landscaping, Clearwater, Florida. Just like that with the vertical separator. Landscaping company, landscape design contractor. Throw that keyword in there, okay? You just want to put your company name, all right? Your main keyword search, which in this case is part of their company name, and the location. You don't want to triple down like what these guys are doing. That could be penalized by Google. You don't want that. Also, you need it under 60 characters. So this is going to get cut off by Google because it's more than that. So there's no sense going on and on about it. For instance, don't make your title like this website, okay? It's an electrician, it's a whole big list of keywords. Don't do that. That's going to count against you in Google's eyes. All right? So you want to be much more conservative with it. And then every page of the website needs to have a title. Unique and optimized. If we go over to the About page, all right, let's press Control U. Company details, company name, Clearwater, Florida. Okay, not too bad. I think this could be optimized a little bit. Let's see, let's copy and paste it. Because company details isn't necessarily a search term you're trying to rank for. That's what you want to think about in the title. You want to think about, okay, what is on the page that we're describing, and then can we put our keywords in there? So about the company, about chop chop landscaping, all right, separator, landscape design contractor based in Clearwater, Florida, all right? So this is pretty smooth. We've got the company name in there. We've got keyword, and then we've got location. All right. And so you want your titles to be unique for every page. This one's kind of similar to the home page now. So for the home page, I might change it around to, something like that. Landscape designer, landscape designers, and lawn care, right? We can make the homepage like this one, and then that way the about page is a little more specific, okay? So long story short, we need to go through every page of the website and edit the title. Okay, this has the most impact on all the things you can do with your SEO right here, the title. All right, right up here. Edit all of these, make sure they describe the contents of the page, and then make sure they're not having too many keywords, right? And make sure you have your city mentioned in there and just a light sprinkling of your keywords. We're on some service pages right here. Landscape lighting. Let's take a look at it. Landscape lighting, Clearwater, Florida, chop chop, Clearwater, Florida. See, I wouldn't put the city in there 2 times. They need to remove this one. If they cut this one out, this is fine. Landscape lighting, chop chop landscaping, Clearwater, Florida. Fine, good title. Let's just cut this one out. So let's move along. So we talked about titles. We want to get them unique on every page. Other optimizations you want to make on your site is having your unique headings for every page, all right? So if we were looking at the About page, these are headings, right? It's the bigger, bolder text. So you want to have headings on all your pages and you want your keyword in them. So they've got landscaping in here, they've got landscaping in here, pretty darn good, right? If we go over to their service page, landscape lighting, right? They've got landscape lighting in the heading here, pretty good. Here it is again, and they're mentioning their service area, pretty smooth. So that is what you want to do. You want to put in your keywords into these headings. Now, I will say they're putting Clearwater FL a little too much, to be honest, because it's in every heading. If we type in landscape, press Control F on the keyboard and type landscape, we see every heading has landscape in it. That's overdoing it. And every heading has Clearwater in it. Okay? That's overdoing it. You don't want to put that many keywords in the headings. Keep it a little more natural, because that's not natural. But this is the idea. Get those headings unique for every page. So if we go over to, say, driveway pavers, we got driveway pavers, Clearwater, main heading for the page. Google looks at these and it gets a sense of what your page is about by looking at the headings. Okay? So make sure you're using them. There's different ones. There's the main heading for the page called heading 1. There's a subheading called heading 2, and then there's a smaller heading called heading 3. Okay, H1, H2, and H3. Use them on your pages. It is good for your SEO. But don't stuff keywords into them. All right. So, and I'll just show you really quick. Let's do Control U to view the source, Control F to find, type in H1, and there it is, H1 heading 1. All right. It's the main heading for the page. It's basically saying, hey, Google, this is the most important piece of text on the page, right? And again, the heading 1 up here needs to summarize the contents of the page, just like the title does. And then you have subheadings like the H2 and the H3 down here, breaking up the text and making it more digestible. All right, so we talked about headings. Another thing I want to talk about is amount of text on the pages. This is very important. You don't want to have just a few words on the page. So you can never really have too much text. For instance, 1,000 words, 2,000, 3,000. I saw some really interesting studies that pages, websites that have #1 ranks in Google in certain areas had a lot of content. I'm talking 3,000 words plus on that page. So long story short, you can never overdo the amount of text. You can always underdo it. If you have pages that only have a few words on them, then Google is not going to give them a whole lot of weight. A page like this that only has 200 words, it's not going to carry a lot of weight with Google, and you don't want that. I mean, you want Google to listen up and weigh your pages and put weight behind them. But if you don't have enough text, it won't. So let's start with 500 words for every page on your website. The home page, about, and all your service pages. 500 words minimum. I personally like to see 1,000 words. That's a good place to start. If you start doing that, you're really going to show Google that you are here to dominate. And then these other companies that only have 100 words on their pages, you will eclipse them. So let's get that. I want much more text on these pages. If we go to some of these service pages, let's go to snow removal. We've got the heading, a couple paragraphs. Not too bad. We're probably knocking on the door of 500 words on this page. So they're definitely hitting a good minimum on these. Let's go to fences. All right. Yeah, definitely probably pretty close to 500 words. So think of this as the amount of content you should start with on all your service pages. Now, a word of caution with this website. Let's do Control F and type in Clearwater. So 16. So the word Clearwater is pretty dense in here. There's a lot of mentions of the service area. Okay, you don't necessarily want to do it that much. It's again getting into the point of keyword stuffing. You don't want to do anything that's going to get the wrong attention from Google. All right, how about fence? Okay, 39 mentions. All right, look at that. Way too much fence in here. That is excessive. So that is keyword stuffing, and the problem is Google might be rewarding it. This website might be doing well in Google on fences and Clearwater on that search. However, that doesn't mean it will always do well. Google could change at any moment its algorithm and start penalizing pages that are having this much of a keyword density. All right, that's why it's important that you go with a company like us over at Clear Imaging. We take SEO very seriously. We've been around for 2 decades, and the reason we have been around that long is because we always follow Google's guidelines and we do white hat SEO. Okay, so yeah, we need a lot of content on these pages, but don't put this many keywords in there. Just write it as it would naturally be. Write the article, have it written, read through it. If for whatever reason, your keyword fence isn't coming up enough, okay, you can sprinkle some in, but nothing like this. And truly, if you do write the article in a normal fashion, it should just present itself in a natural way and come out. So it's basically just write normally is all you need to do. So that was an issue on this page. And if we go to the home page, we also see they're really doing good with the amount of content. They definitely have 1,000 words on the home page. So this is really good. They're hitting the mark, a lot of content, but let's type in Control F, Clearwater, FL, 26 matches. Okay, that's just not reading naturally if I'm reading this. For the user, it's gonna feel a little awkward, like a little bit, okay. And for Google, it's going to definitely create the wrong impression. Again, even if Google is rewarding it right now and it's doing well in search, this kind of tactic has been known to get clamped down on. So keyword stuffing, it's not stable. So just don't do it. Write the paragraphs naturally, and don't get to this point where you're putting in this many keywords on this amount of text. Google doesn't publish how many keywords you should put per page, of course, but really the guideline is just to write how a normal human being would write. So we've talked about some important things here. We talked about having a unique title on every page of the site and how the title needs to describe the contents of that page and how you shouldn't stuff keywords in the title. Keep it short and sweet. All right, we also talked about putting headings on your pages. We talked about the main heading, heading 1 right here, carries a lot of weight with Google, and it also summarizes the contents of the page, similar to what the title does. And then we talked about using subheadings, heading 2, subheading, heading 3, important for your SEO. We also talked about adding a sufficient amount of text to all your pages and not stuffing it with keywords. So what are some other things we can talk about? How about duplicate content? This is a really big issue. So as we scroll through this website and we open up pages, we notice they made a page for every city over here, which is a great move. This is a classic. I remember doing this back in the day when nobody else was doing this yet. back in the early 2000s, 2002, you'd make a page for each state or city that you want to rank well in Google. And by doing that, you're sending a signal saying, hey, Google, we have something to do with this location, all right? Dunedin, okay? We have a page about Dunedin. Google's going to think, oh, okay, well, they probably operate in Dunedin, so I should place them higher in Dunedin searches on landscaping. So this is the right thing to do. You should make a page for each city you operate in. It's a great idea. But as far as the content of the page, it still has to be quality and original. Now I want to take you on a journey here and show you these pages. Do you see any difference when I click back and forth on these? Do you see any difference? There's only one difference. The city name is being substituted out. All right? That's it. Content is exactly the same. So this is the lazy way, and this way doesn't work anymore. This was one way to do it back in the early days, and it did work to a certain degree. But pages like this, Google is not stupid, and Google sees that, okay, you have 8 pages here. They all have exactly the same text except for the city, and that's not going to fly. So these pages, the work they put into creating these has been for nothing, because Google will not give them much weight at all. And even if it did, okay, let's say they were doing good and this page was doing well in Google for whatever reason, I wouldn't, take that to the bank. It's not going to do well forever, because Google regularly adjusts their algorithm. At some point, they will clamp down, and then you will be, at the back of the bus, and it's very hard to get out once Google penalizes you. And just look how many times they're mentioning the city, right? 27. Way too much. Clearly stuffing it with keywords. Don't go like this. Do make a page for every city you operate in, and do make original content on all of it, okay? Put your heading 1s, 1,000 words of text, heading 2s and 3s, but don't spam it out so much with all these keywords. Landscaping, same story, right? So that is definitely an SEO don't. And it's the same story with these other ones right here. So that's something you want to avoid. Now it is great that they have a page for every service. This is the right thing to do. So every service you have, you need to make a page, and then in every page again, you need to have that unique title, unique heading 1, unique text, heading 2s, heading 3s. All right, let's do that on every service you have. Don't just make one services page and just list your services. No, you got to go all in. You need to make more content than your competitors, okay? So a quick way to do that, okay, well, hey, here's 13 pages. Do one page for each service and you're good to go. One page for each city, bam, right now we're at 20 pages right out the door, which is pretty good. So this is a good strategy. Page for every service, page for every city, and then you have your about page, home, and contact. Now you might say, okay, well, I'm done. I SEO'd my site. We went through it. We did all the titles. We added all this unique text. I hired a writer. We optimized the headings. We got a page for each city with unique text. We got a page for each service. I'm fully SEO'd. So that's great. You're going to be ahead of most of the game. But is that enough to get you at number 1? The answer is, it depends how much your competitors are SEOing. So if the competition is really high, then that might not be enough to get you to the top. If the competition is low and you just do what we said just now, then that could get you there because everyone else is doing so little. So the thing is, yes, you can SEO your site, go through it, add all the content you need, optimize it, but is that going to get you to the top of Google? It's going to get you closer. You'll get to the top by creating more content than your competitors. So that is something that you really need to keep in mind continuously with SEO. It's not just necessarily a one-time thing where, okay, we added 6 pages, right? We added some city pages and now we're done. We're all set SEO wise. We added 5 pages to the website. Not necessarily. You need to think of SEO as a continuous campaign. It's a weekly campaign, week to week, creating unique content, all right? Not from Wikipedia, not from a content generation tool, actual, content written by a human, text, week in and week out. You need to create more content than your competitors, because you can't get to the top of Google by doing the bare minimum. So if your competitors are making a page a month, let's say, in your area, then you should be making 2 a month or 3 or 4. And by that, you can dominate and get to the top and stay at the top. Because think of SEO as a race. It's you and all of your competitors trying to get that top spot. Well, don't just optimize your site one time and be thinking you're done for the year. No, there's a bunch of other websites trying to get your top spot. So keep the momentum going. Keep creating that content continuously. Quality content. I'm talking a page a week, 500 words. Make a blog, okay? And that's where your content can live. Make a blog section up here. You can add it, and then week in and week out, you can add that fresh content there. You're not going to add your new content once you have a page for every city you serve, and once you have a page for every individual service. You might say, okay, well, where am I going to add these new pages? Well, you're not going to make fences 2 and fences 3 and driveway paving and paver's driveway. That's not going to be it. Like, this is done. Once this is done, it's finished. Same with these. Your pages are then going to go into the blog, okay? So that's why blogging is still a relevant thing for business. We won't touch any of this. Once all these pages are made, make a blog button up here, click into that, and that is where it's all going to live. Every week, your fresh new content is going to be in that blog, 500 words. And you might say, okay, well, what can I write about? Well, there's a few different things you can write about. If you're in landscaping, you're in a unique position to write about the work you're already doing. Service-based industries have this. If you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, flooring, landscaping, roofing, you're in a unique position where every time you do a job that's longer than a couple hours, that job in itself is a story, okay? And think of it like this. You get a call to do a custom driveway, right, with pavers. And then, okay, you get a job description. You need to find out what equipment do I need, what materials, what skill sets do I need, what kind of manpower, all right? And that in itself is content. You can start just by documenting that, and then the actual doing of the job, okay? Laying the pavers day by day, right? Play by play, each day just documenting. You're literally journaling the work your crew is doing. And, before you know it, you're going to have quite a bit of text written on this project by just documenting what is happening on the job site. It literally starts writing itself. And then when you're done, go ahead, get some before and after photos, get some video, get a testimonial from the client, type it up, and then write your overall impressions. And you're going to have 500 words every time you do a job. And so this answers the question of, well, what am I going to write about every week? Yeah, we got our service pages, we've got our city pages, the site's all built, but I still want to dominate and create more content. Well, that's what you're going to do. You're going to create content based off the work you're already doing on the job site. You're going to journal it, you're going to document it, and it's going to write itself. Week in and week out, 500 words. The content will always be unique because every job is different. Additionally, the content's going to be very useful because it'll all be in different locations each time, all right? It'll be in a different city, or it'll be in the same city, whatever it is, it's going to be in a city, which means you're going to reference the city in the text, which means you're going to send a signal to Google, hey, we are working in this area, we have something to do with that area. Additionally, the photos you take on that job site, you can get GPS coordinates embedded into that photo by going over here, and that sends another signal to Google that these photos were taken from that location. So you're really pounding it home to Google that your company is doing things and it has a lot to do with these locations. That's going to help you rank when people are searching for landscaper near me in Clearwater. So it's a really killer strategy, this one, for people who are service-based, like landscapers. Just document the job, have somebody, whip out a laptop, paper and pen, whatever it is, and each day just journal it. And then when you're done, put it all together, and voila, you have an article, get it published on the website, and then after a year of doing that, you'll have 50 pages. Now I know that wouldn't count if you have a quick lawn care job, that's fine. But anything substantial that requires a couple days of work, that could be a great opportunity for some unique content to your website, because that's how you're really going to kill it. You need to show Google that you're creating more than just service pages and your city pages. You're really going all in and you're dominating. Then you'll be an authority in that area. So that is the ticket. That's how you're going to win in SEO if you're a small business and you're service-based. A couple other considerations. You want to make sure your site runs fast. All right, this is a test by Google PageSpeed. This is kind of a mediocre score. You also want to make sure your site is mobile friendly. If it's not mobile friendly, Google will penalize you. This site looks pretty bad on mobile, so I would definitely want to optimize that because more and more people are searching on mobile. All right. If your site isn't loading fast, this is a pretty darn fast website. If your site's loading slow, you will get penalized by Google because people are waiting to load your site and they'll click the back button. And Google takes that as a hint that your site is no good because they didn't want to wait for it. So just abandoned it. So you want your site loading fast. You want it mobile friendly. All right. That's definitely important for your SEO. Another thing is you need your Google reviews. Very important to get your Google reviews. If we just Googled these fellows, see where they're at. No reviews. I mean, this is a catastrophe. You've got to have Google reviews because if the prospect is searching you out and they don't see any reviews, they're going to think, okay, are they in business? Are they temporarily closed? Did they just open? You need those reviews. You feel safe when you have those reviews. And it doesn't matter if your prospects are baby boomers or Gen X, millennials. People nowadays are relying on reviews. Like, just look at the little boost of confidence you get when you see that. It's undeniable. So people are relying on reviews. It's an important part of your SEO. That's why we're talking about it right now. So the more reviews you get, the more clicks your website gets. Google notices that and then it boosts you up in Google Maps. So this is very important. This is part of the 1-2 punch. All right, continual content creation over here, adding pages, and then review generation. Content creation, review generation. Get them from your past customers, all right? Don't get fake reviews, don't buy reviews. Keep it very white hat. You don't want to mess around with Google. And then get lots of reviews. Try to get up into the triple digits. And if you have more reviews than anyone else in your area, people will do business with you just because of that. Just that reason alone. So it's a killer strategy. You've got to get going with your reviews. That just about does it for our audit here. This is us, of course, Clear Imaging. If you need help with your reviews, if you need help with your SEO, help with your web design, we're here for you. We've been around longer than, the majority of web companies. Very few have been around for 2 decades, all right? We've helped tons of American companies, and we do very fresh designs, and we do very ethical SEO. So come on down, come to the homepage, check us out. All right, we have a video here that explains us a little more. We got some case studies you can check out, different website plans. Here's some designs that we've got, some very fresh designs. It's all custom, by the way. There's no cookie cutter web designs here like you might get with others who do WordPress or things like that. Our designs are all customized. And we have excellent services here. And the last thing I want to show you is SEO analysis. So if you want to send your website, I'd love to take a look. Just fill out this little form here, then I can take a look and see how it stacks up by kind of like what we just did today. Not as long, but if you want to know, definitely fill this out. I'd love to take a look at your website so we can see if you're making any of these mistakes, so I can point you in the right direction, so you can rectify them, so you can get moving up in Google, so you can get more traffic and then have that traffic, those visitors, convert into customers. All right. It all starts with SEO, search engine optimization. So come on down, clearimaging.com, fill out our form here, and I'd love to take a look at your website and see how we could help you. All right. So, and if you have any questions, we can definitely help you with that as well. All right. Anything else you need, let us know. And until then, thank you very much and take care.